Hello and welcome to Connect to Love here on PRN-FM, where each week we focus on love, oneness, and the beauty of the human spirit. I'm Lisa LaRoche, and I'm joined by the incredible Michael J. Russ, who is on this journey of profound self-mastery with me. I'm so excited to have you join me, Michael. How are you doing today?
Excellent. Profound self-mastery. Gosh, I like that. I love that. I'm doing awesome. I'm always awesome. It's a beautiful, hot summer day, and I'm looking forward to seeing some. It's a few days before it's the 2nd of July, so I'm looking forward to seeing the fireworks display on Friday that we have over the water, which is really nice down here on the beach. And other than that, hopefully I'll get to play some golf, my favorite thing. Yeah, nice. I like to challenge myself. I'm always loving to challenge myself to apply the things we talk about every week.
I do too.
I do.
In so many different ways, Michael. Yeah, The things that we speak about, they come into full circle in so many different ways. And I thought when I said that about self-mastery, I mean it because I know that I have been working on myself for many years, and you as well. And every little bit of information that you read, every conversation that you have, you sort of take it in and you refine it little bit by little bit until it becomes something that works for you. And I was thinking about that because I thought, it's sort of like putting a recipe together. And you get to decide what ingredients you want to put in that recipe. I mean, a lot of times I have a recipe that I got for chili back when I was in college. It was in a Weight Watchers kind of a cookbook, Lean Cuisine. I think it's one of my favorite recipes for chili. But when I looked at the chili recipe, it called for eggplant, and I'm not so fond of eggplant. So instead I put zucchini in. And
what do you put in?
Instead of zucchini.
Oh, zucchini.
It's a vegetarian recipe, and it calls for a lot of mushrooms. And so sometimes I play with the beans. I'll walk down the aisle and I'll see what organic beans, or I'll look at the different produce. I stick pretty close to the way that the recipe is, and inevitably when I make it, I'll bring it to a potluck or another event. And most people, they just love it. They don't miss the meat. They love it. But you kind of get to decide what those ingredients are. And some of them you just walk by and you're like, no, I would never put that in there. And sometimes it's sort of like that in life, because that's where self-mastery comes in. Things that we have judged about ourselves, and we kind of learn to kind of walk by that. The things that we are critical of, maybe when we were younger, we sort of say, no, I'm okay with that now. And so as we sort of go through life, we're creating this recipe with all of these different ingredients of all these different things that have kind of gone into our own chili, our own self-mastery, including emotions and things like that we refine. I mean, I've heard over the last few days, I sent it to you, there's a woman that I follow, and she was talking about emotional sovereignty, and I thought, well, there's a new one for me to look at and sort of see what that means to me. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, but I think that no matter what you put in, at the end, most definitely, even within our own selves, we don't sort of get distracted by the things that we are not drawn to. We can come out with something pretty good. And there was a book that Michael and I are both listening to that I've been listening to it now for the third time because it's so powerful. And before the show, Michael shared with me one of the things that really stood out for him. And I don't know, Michael, if you would mind just sharing that, because I think it's a good segue into what we would like to speak about today.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Let me read this because I kind of wrote it down. It really resonated with me so strongly. And here's what they said. Draw what you want to you and let it unfold through you. It's not something you chase after, pursue, grind, or fight for, or even figure out. You draw it to you. Through perception, you move yourself into the reality you choose. The experience of your life unfolds with ease, certainty, and clarity. The future comes to you. There's no wondering, no trying to figure things out. This is the new you, the person you have always dreamt of and believe that you already are the person you wish to be. Got to believe it. That was it.
The words, the illusion of the idea of drawing things to you and letting it unfold through you. As you said that, it just really it moved me in mysterious ways, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear your thoughts about it, Michael.
Yeah, simple. Thank you. The idea here, the operative word here is perception, and the power, the perceptions. I'm coming to understand here because in this particular book by Sarah Landon, the Wisdom Council uses the word perception, the concept of perception, a lot. It's really interesting, but it's everywhere because life is perceptual. So what they're saying here, in essence, is that when you adopt the perception that is aligned with what you want as you're already being there, or being it, being that person, or being in that position, being in that circumstance, the perception draws it to you, because by developing the perception, you're creating the frequency that is now going to draw what you want to you, because you're of the same frequency. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
And it's interesting because I know for most people it's a conundrum. There's always the empirical evidence aspect of it. I like that word, empirical. Those two words, empirical evidence, because that's what people want. They want proof. They want proof. The old way was to set a goal, focus on that goal, drive your focus on the how you get to that goal, document the various steps involved for achieving that goal. And in this day and age, none of that is relevant. What she's saying, what the council is saying with that kind of old line thinking, is that you're actually creating a chasm between you and what you want. You're driving it further from you because the whole goal concept is based in lack. Mm-hmm. It's based in lack. I don't have it yet, but I will if I do these things. You're focused on the how, which is not what you're supposed to focus on now. You don't focus on the how. You already have it. So what do you have to focus on the how for? The perception is I have it, right? Your emotions, your thought processes, as you're taking inspired action, you already have what you want. You're happy, you're grateful, you're joyful, you're excited, you're passionate. And in that frequency, aligned with your perception, you are drawing to you what it is that you want. The person you want to be, the life you want to live, the whole 9 yards. And the other thing, too, that's interesting is that this blew me away. It's the fact that they said focus and expectation. You shouldn't have focus and expectation of one thing. Like I need that $10,000 and only that $10,000. I need that right now, right, to pay this bill. The fact is, when you do that, you also are acting perceptually from a perspective of lack, because you don't have it, but you want it. You want to draw it to you, but now you don't have it. Your perception is you don't have it. Your perception has to be that you have it. This is the conundrum for most people. This is the part that trips most people up. And it's living your entire life that way, adopting perceptions in every area of your life, and living as if you already have it. And it's really it's brilliant. It's definitely very new age in terms of thinking, and you have to undo some of the thinking that you've thought about in the past. Focus drives something away from you because you're focused on one thing, not the best thing for you, not the highest outcome, not the highest outcome. That's not what you're focused on. You're focused on one thing, and literally what you want to do is adopt a perception that your focuses you on the highest outcome, the best you could possibly be. You know, instead of a golfer that shoots a specific score, I want to be the best golfer I can be, and the score will be better than I could ever imagine, because you have to allow space for that. That's the thing. You have to allow yourself to receive the absolute best thing you could ever want in life, the highest good, your highest good. That is what you are. You want your perception to be focused on.
I love it when you said that, because I think it's not about striving, and the idea of becoming you, becoming the vibration of what we already are. And I love what she says, and the council say in the book about it, it's already you. It's already you. So it's almost like acknowledging that becoming the vibration you desire and letting it unfold through you is all about divine timing, and you attract what you are, not what you want. How often do they say that? And it's not about that chasing or forcing or performing, like as you said, going out on the golf course and performing and making like, I'm going to get a hole-in-one. You just remember that you are the magnet, and that you choose your thoughts, you choose your actions, and you put yourself into alignment. And perhaps you may have that hole-in-one, or it may not be on that hole, but it may be on another hole, or whatever it is, you get par. And the other thing that when you were speaking about it that made me laugh, and I don't know why, because I was thinking about this thing about chasing. And when I was a kid, and I haven't thought about this in a very long time, but my father told us as kids that if we took salt and we put it on the tip of a bird's tail, that the bird wouldn't be able to fly and we would be able to catch it.
Okay,
so,
that's
course,
interesting.
We walk, we chase these birds, and we never were able to do it, obviously. But I thought it was such a funny metaphor, because here we were, silly little kids, rather than just enjoying the birds, and that's perception, right? I thought that I had to have a bird in order to be happy and hold that bird. That was the goal. Chasing that bird and getting the salt on the tail so that I could catch it. And I was perceiving that it was something that I lacked, when really the birds were all around me. And all I had to do was sit and enjoy their beauty and watch them, which is what I do now. They come and they eat the seed, and the little goldfinches in the fall come and eat the sunflowers. And, they all have their different songs at different times of the day that I have an opportunity to enjoy. And it wasn't really about catching just one and possessing it. It was enjoying all of them. And I think that that's part of what that becoming that the council speak about, that we have this potential, and we just have to align ourselves with that love. And that's what the council say throughout the book, as does Abraham, as does Bashar, that you align yourself with love. And that's how we consciously create this new way of being, this becoming you. We become the love that we see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought of something when you were saying that too. Just the term, I'm great at this. I'm great at this, right? That perception that you're great at something, whatever it is that you're doing. I'm great at this game of golf. Literally, what that does is it puts you in the frequency of the miraculous, the magical, right? And I'm serious. I've seen this happen where somebody is they don't have a negative perception of themselves. They're just out there doing it, and they're doing it and enjoying it and having a great time. And the magical hole-in-one occurs, right? I mean, I could point my girlfriend to that. I mean, she was just picked up the game a year and a half earlier, and didn't know enough to think that she wasn't great at the game. She didn't even think about that. And we're at a tournament. We're playing a tournament in upstate New York, and she puts the ball within an inch of the hole from about 120 yards. Within an inch, it rolls right up to the hole. It just doesn't go in. And I said, "See what you're capable of." It's just, you just have to have a positive idea. And then we're down in Costa Rica, and we're having a great time. We're enjoying ourselves. There's a course there that we're playing at the resort, and it was about 138 yards. She hits this ball. She can't even see the hole because it's on the green has a rise in the middle of it, and the pin is on the other side of it. And she hits this ball that doesn't go very high in the air. It just goes straight, right? And Lord knows, we walk over the hill and the ball is in the hole. So you're
fantastic.
You're like, yeah. See, this is a prime example of having a positive perception, just not having a negative perception, number one, about any aspect of yourself or your game. It's just maintaining a thought space of positivity. I'm having such a great time. I'm just enjoying myself. You're in that frequency, right? And that frequency provides an opportunity for miracles and magical things to occur versus I'm not really good at this game. I don't play it very well. You're apologetic. And, I last time I did this, I didn't do that very well at all. And I'm really bad at this. And that perception of negativity is pushing all the good magic and the miracles that could occur completely away from you. It's just putting a big chasm between you and it. And that's really what the council was saying that was so magical, is that how do you get into that frequency? By establishing perceptions that align with that frequency. The perceptions that you are, I'm great at this. Whatever it is. If you simply said that, I'm great at this. And you don't have to shout it on the rooftops. You don't have to tell everybody that you know. You just have to believe it yourself. I'm great at this. That's the perception. And you never waver from that perception. Never waver from it. I'm awesome. I'm great at this. It's a fantastic mantra for positive perceptions. And you have to put yourself in a position where anything can happen. I have a buddy. I'll tell you one more story. I have a buddy that he's going to visit me in September, on the 10th through the 13th of September, who I haven't seen in person in I haven't played golf with him in 10 years at least. And we were good friends, and we used to play golf all the time in California. And he moved to Texas, and I moved here. And I finally got him to come visit me, and for the second time, actually, in the last 20 years. And he is a guy that is the epitome of positivity. Everything's awesome. Life's amazing. Relationship's amazing. Travel's amazing. Everything's amazing. Get up in the morning. Life is just fantastic. Goes out on the golf course. He has that same perception. And he sends me a video last week, and he goes, "Yeah, I had my first." I don't believe it's his first eagle. I have to ask him about that one. But an eagle is when you have an allotment of 5 shots to get to a place, and you do it in 2. And he did it on a very long shot, a couple of 100 yards easy, I'm sure, from out in the fairway. He put the ball in the hole. And he sends me a video of him coming up talking about, "Yep, my first one. Yep, here it is. That check that off the list." And that's just the kind of guy he is. And I love people like that. And that's the kind of people I do attract into my life, because that's the way that I think, and I'm sure you're the same way. But it's just a metaphor for the fact that when you allow space for your highest good to come to you, it does come to you. It's something greater than what you could ever imagine shows up at your front door, so to speak. And instead of the other way around.
I agree.
Right?
And I think some of that, too, Michael, has to do with trust. Your friend trusts that it's going to be an amazing day. I trust that when I talk to you, you're going to have an amazing day. You might have little speed bumps here and there, but no matter what it is, you just know. If you trust that everything can unfold through you? And then if you do, then you're drawing those desires with ease and grace. Everything with ease and grace. And that's a big part of it for me. And I think sometimes we're so busy trying to get somewhere, and that's what we have sort of been ingrained to do.
And get
from
something.
An early age. Yeah, and get something. Yeah. Get somewhere and get something. And so we actually sometimes we move from where we are to where we think we want to be, but then we get there and it's not really where we want to be at all. I think so many people, I'll be happy when I do this, or I'll be happy when I do that. Well, you can be happy in the present moment as you are now. And just from that, you let go of that need to go somewhere or have to. And then I think that when you do that, that's when you open up to those infinite possibilities that are already being there. I don't know if it was some time ago that when we had Carol Collins on, and the teachers talked about potentiality and the qualities and the ability of what lay there for us in that potentiality. And I think that that's part of that potentiality is becoming you. It's already here. It's already in here. And so what aspect do we want to choose that fills up our grid, that brings it to us? So if we do that daily vibration check-in, which I know that you do, you go into meditation, you meditate in the morning, what are you radiating? And when you do that intentional silence or meditation, I think that's where you allow that space for guidance to flow through you. You get up, not every day looks the same, especially for me. And so if I can kind of anchor myself in, I can focus on allowing the joy and the grace and the beauty to be part of my world and navigate through whatever it is that I'm doing. And maybe aspire someday to experience what I call ecstatic bliss.
True. But I want to remind our audience of one thing. First, that this is unscripted, and secondarily, we are also participating in practicing these things we're talking about. We're works in progress. We're in the process of evolution. So when we talk about these things, we are also students that are learning as we hope that you are from what we're putting out there, from what we've been exposed to, and that we're sharing here in this PRN FM here and on our podcast. And it's that we are masters who are remembering. That's what we are. We're all masters.
That's beautiful, Michael.
We already know. We are all. That's what we're doing. We're just remembering. We know everything. We know how to do this. We're just in a position where we have to cut through the noise and just simply remember, and then practice that remembering. Be in that state of remembrance, and that's when things open up. Potentiality. I love that word. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's a place of potentiality. To me, that's what I see it as, is a place of potentiality where every single day, your highest good is going to come to you. You don't know where from. You just believe it. You just know it. Your heart, right? That you love being in that space of absolute potentiality. And that is a perception that golfers should adopt. People who play any kind of sport should adopt. You should be in a place of absolute potentiality where you know that anything and everything is possible. The magical, the mystical, the miracle. It's all there. We know that being in that space draws those things to us. We just have to be in that space and not let all the noise keep us from being in that space, which is kind of what the meditation is. It's like putting yourself, quieting down in the beginning of the day and knowing that you're in that place of potentiality where during the day anything could everything could happen. You don't know what it is. You're just looking out for the thing. And that's kind of the way I deal with my day, by the way. I've been doing it for 40 years. That in my business, that's how I create my abundance, is out of thin air, by knowing that the potential exists every single day. Now, does it happen every day the way that I think it should happen? Well, no, it doesn't. I've accepted the fact that I'm not in control of the how and the when. What I am in control of is maintaining the mindset of potentiality. And believe it or not, every month, every week, every month, every year. It happens. It's happened for 40 straight years. That my being in that mindset is as far away from fear and lack and fight and struggle as you can get. Yet I know people that live in a world of fight, struggle, and lack. Mm-hmm. Right? It's the place that draws to you the circumstances, because of that perception of fight and struggle and lack. Draws to you the circumstances, that the reality that is in alignment with those lower frequencies. That's what you get. Mm-hmm. You want to change the circumstances, change your frequency, get rid of that. Go to potentiality versus lack. And we don't know. Right. We don't put a number on it. We don't put a number on it. We just say it's going to be it's going to be. People ask me, "Well, how's your day?" It's going to be an awesome day, man. It's an awesome day already, and the day will continue to be awesome. I don't know how it's going to be awesome, but I know it's going to be awesome. It'll unfold in one way or another. Even if it's just that I get to smile at somebody, that I have a conversation with someone, that I, look my girlfriend in the eye and say, "Hey, I love you." It's awesome. We have a nice little warm embrace and a validation of that. Or I sit up here, I look at my little corgi in a really strange little position with little brown eyes follow me all around the room. Hey, I'm loving it, and it's a joy to be alive. Period. It's a joy to be alive, regardless of any of the circumstances. It's joy.
Right. I'm smiling because this past weekend there's a community yard sale that occurs just once a year, and there's about 160 homes. Different people participate, and they give you a map, and it says "Start here." Well, I didn't start at the where it said "Start here." I started on my street because that was most convenient, and I went with a friend of mine, and I had certain things in mind that I wanted. I've been getting rid of a lot of things, but there are certain things. I had dog bowls that got broken, and so what did I come across? 2 dog bowls. It was $2. They were nice size, heavy-weighted bowls. I could go to the store, but $2 sure was really nice to spend. And I needed some new curtains, and sure enough, they showed up at another house. And I got a shoe rack so I could get organized. And my one friend, it was interesting that she went with me, and she's like, "Well, I want this and I want that. I want to see if they have this." And one of the things on her list, she wanted a George Foreman grill. And one of the last houses we went to, they had some different things that I was looking at, and I said, "Oh my gosh, there's a George Foreman grill." Now, what's kind of funny was the George Foreman grill that was a little bit bigger than what she wanted. But I said to her, "But you didn't specify that with the universe. The universe aligned this for you and brought you a George Foreman grill. You didn't say you wanted the smaller version." I said, "It's really, you need to be grateful that they brought it for you." I said, "And if actually this larger size, you'll be able to cook more than one chicken breast at a time, so it'll cut down on your cooking time." So actually the universe knew what you needed more than what you did.
Exactly. That is the way it works. Yeah, no.
But it's a perfect illustration. I mean, you look for the signs. So it was kind of like those breadcrumbs. So we went from house to house and picked up what we needed. And then, last night, so what did I do? Because I brought new things in. I filled up 6 bags of things to repurpose and give to somebody else. So, it's the cycle of how things go. But I think it is. If you are a vibrational match, the universe will respond to what you're sending out. But I think it's important sometimes to let go of what we think that would be best for us, because I think the universe has a better plan.
I do. That's the great story, number one. Funny as all get out. And I will say that it's the prime example of the universe knowing more what you need than you, and allowing that space for that to occur is, instead of saying, and the one thing I tell most people out there is that you should refrain from saying, "I can't believe it. I can't believe this happened. I can't believe that." Refrain from that, because if you want more miracles and potentiality, the highest good to come to you, you have to, if you've aligned with it, you've got to also believe it, because saying, I don't believe it happened to me, I can't believe it, can you believe it? No, look.
Right.
Thing is, you asked for it, or you put yourself in that space, it came to you, be grateful. It's like, I'm so grateful this came to me, oh my gosh. The last thing you want to say is, I can't believe it, because that literally takes you back to square one, right? Mm-hmm. Of you're not believing that the potentiality actually works. Kind of saying, well, I manifested this thing, but I can't believe I manifested this thing. This really works, And I'm like, yeah, just forget about the I can't believe it part and just stick with the this really works. I can tell you from I had a miracle last week. I had a miracle last month. I've had, I don't know how many miracles this year. Magical things. They happen to me all the time because there's no wall separating me from them. And that's what we happen to do as human beings, is we put up all these walls that prevent the grandest version of what we intend to come to us. We do. The doubt, the fear, it'll never happen to me, I can't believe this would ever happen to me. I mean, those are all perceptions that you just want to flush down the toilet, just saying. You just want to flush them out of your life. And when you do that, miracles, you've now put yourself in the space of potentiality, ultimate potentiality, universal potentiality. And like I said, I like that word. I hadn't heard it in a long time, but thank you. Since Carol Collins. But that's where you need to be, place of potentiality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think too, Michael, it is about vibrating. I remember when you and I first started having conversation about vibration and frequency. Now I'm seeing it as commonplace, which I'm thrilled about. It's wonderful that the consciousness of the planet is elevating such that it has become part of languaging, and that people are starting to really understand that everything has a vibration to it. And as we're sort of understanding that, so if we vibrate at the frequency of a problem, we're going to draw more problems. But if we vibrate at the frequency of a solution, more solutions will flow to us. It's about aligning to that. And I think also being mirrors for each other. So we're mirroring back, and those vibrations, it's like, okay, I'm sending that out, and then it's coming back to me. I mean, how many times have you heard somebody that they'll go to the store and they'll park their car and their car will get dented or scraped, and it seems like they have one myriad of challenges after another. But the opposite could be true, just by changing your vibration and saying, well, you know what, I needed a new paint job anyway. It opens a new doorway, I think. And some of that has to do with coming into the art of allowing and feeling good about what is going on. So when we become that vibrational match to that solution and we feel good about it, it sort of allows that flow. And Sarah Landon and the council said it so eloquently, and I appreciate the reminder, Michael, that drawing things to you and allowing it to flow through you, it just really speaks volumes to me. And if you remember, they said that sometimes we have a situation in our human experience that make us feel out of control. But that control, which is an illusion, as both you and I know, it reminds us that when we try to control things, we're playing out perceived limitation. And I really love that, because it's such a powerful reminder for me, especially, that rather than trying to control, if we instead move into a state of allowing, which, as the council say, and I wrote this down because I wanted to really embody it, that the state of allowing means to take a deep breath, slow down, connect to all of you, expand the space around you, and open and allow the energy to serve you. And then follow that light and that energy and go with the flow. And if we think about that, Michael, if you really, truly think about that, expanding the space around you and allowing and opening the energy to flow, it's such a powerful reminder, because I think when we're caught up in the drama or whatever it is that is unfolding for us at a moment, and we think we have to find our way through a situation and control the outcome, it doesn't really seem to work. But I love, slow down, take a deep breath, connect to the all of you that's around you. It's just absolutely beautiful. It's magnificent. Yeah. It really is magnificent.
Yeah, it's a great line. It's a great belief. It's interesting because by default we've been taught. Now this is default, but we've been taught that there are problems and solutions. Right? That's from birth. As a problem, there's a solution to every problem. Right? And my feeling today is the word problem is a perception that we get caught up into, where we have to somehow find the solution, right? Mm-hmm. It's a problem we need to find a solution to. Well, maybe it's not a problem. Maybe it's just something that happened. We'd like a different outcome, so we focus on the outcome that we want versus what happened, right? There is no problem. It's just really an opportunity for us to change our state of being, change our perception about what's going on. And and we just delete the word problem from our human vocabulary, because it used to work when you'd say, there's a problem. For every problem, there's a solution. For every this is that. It's like, well, that's true, but did you change the mindset that created the problem that you're in? Did you change the perception that created the problem that you're in, that led to the reality of the problem? Did you change that? Otherwise, you're looking at the old Einstein thing, and believe it or not, this is really strange, the council actually said this, what Einstein said. I'm sitting there, I'm listening to this thing going, hang on a second, didn't Einstein say that? Yeah, but where did Einstein get it from, right? The issue of you cannot solve a problem with the mindset that created the problem, right? It's been said a dozen different ways. However, he said that, and I'm saying, interesting, hold on a second, putting on the brakes. The council used this exact example. You cannot solve a problem with the frequency that created the problem. It's a universal concept. And I knew Einstein spent a lot of time thinking, spent a lot of time meditating and stuff. And I'm thinking that's where he got it from. Okay?
Yeah, probably.
He intuited it from the universe, right? From other beings, the council, whatever. But it's brilliant. Brilliant.
Well, they say that the theory of relativity came to him in his dreams. I think there was a lot of that, and we're starting to recognize where the information comes from. But I wanted just to say that when you were talking about problems, that I think has been one of the things in my own self-mastery, as I think in yours, that I catch myself. If I start to say the word problem and I quickly stop myself and I change it to the word challenge. And I think that when we do that little by little, and that's the key, you sort of substitute. You catch yourself and you say, no, that's not the experience of reality that I want. I want this other potential. So you just make a correction. You pivot. And as Carol would say, you start to fill it with more happy. You find the things to love on. You find the things that are really adding to bringing more of that positivity. And nothing is perfect, but it's the consistent practice. And I think each small shift, when we focus on that, it builds that vibrational muscle and brings us closer and closer to becoming who we're truly meant to be, loving ourselves wherever we are.
Yeah, I agree. That is, to me, the beauty of that is its simplicity. The question is, can you put yourself in that space when the most challenging thing is happening in your life? That's the question. We're here as non-physical beings in human form to experience the wonders, the six senses, basically, that allow us to physically touch and engage. Just something as simple as a smile, an act of kindness, is something that non-physical beings in a physical kind of way cannot do. You hugging. Something simple as hugging, right? It's giving a hug. Yes, there's energy involved, but there's physicality. We're supposed to make this existence fun and exciting, and we're supposed to be impassioned by the opportunity that we've given ourselves, and yet we allow the density of this place, the density of negativity that exists and that is propagated in our world here on Earth, to get in the way of all of that and cause us to forget that that love is the thread that binds us all together. The love you had when you were born for yourself in life, you just had love. You didn't learn anything. You just had love. You had kindness. You had smiles. You had all of that. You had joy. And you came in vibrating with these really high frequencies, and then you absolutely learned to be otherwise from experience. Maybe you had parents that didn't resonate those, the love, the joy, the kindness, and the gratitude. Maybe that was the case. However, as the council was saying, the past is the past. Where you are today and what you choose to do today, how you choose to, the perceptions you choose today create your reality today, not back then. Today. And you have the ability to change your whole reality by changing your perception of yourself in relationship even to your past. That tool, I like the idea of, I think in my book, Zerversity, I proposed that you could change the way you feel about yourself. If something in the past is some sort of trauma or whatever, you could revisit that trauma today with a different perception, and you would then change the feelings you had about it. Mm-hmm. And sure. I still very much believe that today, that it's all about perception. You shift the perceptions you're harboring about yourself based on something that happened to you that maybe was not so comfortable, right? Not so technically quote unquote good, but it did help shape you into the person you are today. So going back and having a different perception about it can change the feelings that you have about it going forward, and what you resonate and what you attract to you going forward. And I don't know, so many great things here that, with regard to allowing that you were talking about, that's a huge word too. You have to allow the potentiality, allow yourself to be in that space of potentiality. It's giving yourself permission, and I like that. Thank you for bringing that up, by the way, word allowing.
You, Michael, when you were speaking about when we come into this world, I couldn't help but think of some of the videos that I see on social media of a little baby that through a very simple act by a parent or maybe an animal, and they just get the giggles and they just cannot stop laughing. And that laughter is infectious. It creates a beautiful vibrational frequency that everybody is laughing. And I love to watch them. Sometimes they have compilations of all of these little infants, and it'll be a dog coming up to lick their face, and they'll just uncontrollably laugh. It just it fills my heart with so much joy. And I think that potentiality and what you were speaking about, if we go back to those memories, not just the trauma, but those moments of joy, then we can allow our presence to illuminate other people and remember that we have that in us. That was who we came in here with. That's who we came to be. And I don't know, sometimes I think about when I was younger and, you get the giggles with your friends and you don't even know what you're laughing about, but you can't stop laughing, and then an adult will come in the room like, what are you laughing about? You can't catch your breath because you're just laughing so hard. And sometimes, it's like going to a silly movie like that and just bursting out and having a good belly laugh. I was watching America's Got Talent, and they had this African-American comedian. He was so funny, and he was an undertaker, and and a comedian. And his whole thing had the judges, literally, the one judge said, she said, I had these belly laughs. It was so much joy that you brought into this room. And even Simon said, you are probably one of the funniest people we've ever had on this stage. And it was interesting because as a funeral director, one of the things he sort of poked fun at was the solemnness of funeral directors and poking fun at just different things. Yeah. The solemnness. And remembering. True. I mean, it was really interesting because what a great metaphor that he had a lot of joy in him, and even during hardship could find joy and bring comfort through laughter. And we all have that capacity, and I think that was part of, even though that was his profession, that was not necessarily who he was. He was also had this other side where he wanted to bring joy to other people. And it's a beautiful gift to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's true. I love it. That's I'll have to see who he is.
To you.
Yeah, I think it's got to be on YouTube somewhere. And yeah, I'd love to. I love comedians. And the way that they give us a different perspective of life. What I was thinking about, though, just before you said that, was how we were talking about a baby laughing, and the things that adult figures say to us when we're younger and impressionable. When we're being ourselves, we're experiencing joy, and then later in life, when we seek to be that way, what our peers say, is things like "get serious, be an adult, you're not a child," right? You hear these things, sure. You're chastised with these statements that really are designed to snuff out your joy. And if you fall for them, they're all thought viruses. If you fall for them, you lose a part of yourself. You lose, because the joy and the love, the kindness, the gratitude, the forgiveness, the love, these are all part of who you are. As a matter of fact, they are the main parts of who you are. And what you want to do is make sure that they make up the main part, that you haven't been chastised out of you, right? And are drummed out of you, as my mother used to say, for certain things. Drummed out of you. Yeah. So one of the things that we have to remember is that we embody these things. We just have to allow them to flow again. I'm always being called goofy, even by my girlfriend. She says, "You're goofy," and I said, "Yeah, I am goofy. That's on purpose." I am goofy. I like to do goofy things. I'm 6.5 decades plus old. I love to do goofy things, and I spontaneously, and I love it. It makes me feel good. It brings joy. My corgi sure loves it, and that. And kids love it, other adults love it. And people expect adults to be, stern, staunch, never smile, never laugh, never enjoy, never show that they're having a good time. Be serious. Come on. The life is meant to be fun, and in whatever way you choose it to be fun, it's meant to be fun. It's meant to be a good time. If it's being serious is some sort of norm that somebody created, just like that guy was talking about, funeral directors, how solemn they are. Who said you have to be solemn? Because there's this whole practice of being solemn. You have to look and feel a certain way when someone passes on. You can't you can't smile, right? You can't wear something other than black. You've got to do this. You got to give a certain kind of roses. They have to be white. Can't be red. It's all these things that have been that somebody came up with at a kitchen table, and forced on everybody else. I'm at the joy at a funeral. It's about celebration. It's not about being solemn. Right? It's not about that. It's about telling wonderful stories and having remembrances of that, time with that person and individual, or even pet for that matter.
Right. Sure. And all the gifts that they brought to your life. I think that's
exactly.
Yeah, I think
you love it. Yeah. And now we have an iPhone that can record them, and we can after they're gone, we can still see videos of them and laugh along with them and be in joy that we had the opportunity to be with that particular individual for the time that we were blessed with bliss when we were with them. The experiences that we had. And if you can come up with an experience, and nobody remembers stuff you bought together. Nobody remembers the car they drove. Nobody remembers that. But we do remember the times when we were in sync with joy and fun and love and happiness. That we'll remember. You'll remember that till you're no longer here in physical form. I mean, that's just the way it goes. And you talk about those most often. And I like to say this, that, when something happens and we start laughing about it, you go, this is what we're going to remember, not that other thing.
Oh, for
I don't
sure.
know I don't know the name of the resort we stayed at, but boy, do you remember this when that happened? There's certain things that occur, and those experiences, the more fun and joyful experiences that you can put in your memory banks, the better off you're going to be, the happier you're going to be going forward. I mean, that's really my goal.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think I love that, Michael, because it is a remembering. And it's also the reconnecting to the truth of yourself, your voice, your vision, your vibration. And that's really what the world needs. And it's about becoming you. And when you said that about the places, when I went to Costa Rica for the first time with my neighbor who was a travel agent, she was a travel agent, so it was sort of a trip to check out this eco tour. And she and I were not like, and she was not like the other travel agents. And we ruffled a lot of feathers. And we walked into the first place that we stayed. It was a beautiful hotel, and she sat down on the bed, and the bed broke. She was not a heavy person. And we were in stitches. And I thought, oh, my gosh, here we are. We're troublemakers, and we haven't even started on this trip. But we could not stop laughing. And we thought, oh, my gosh, we got to call the hotel desk and explain to them that the bed, she just sat on it lightly, that it was in pieces. And
you weren't jumping on it.
Nice. No, we weren't jumping on the bed. But she passed away a few years after we went on that trip, and I will forever remember all of those joyful times, all of the fun things, adventures that we got into. And at her celebration of life, her husband said she was like a shooting star, that if you caught a glimpse, she would illuminate the world. And I sort of felt like, boy, you know what? I was so happy to be able to have had a glimpse of that part of her life. And she left this world way too young, but grateful for the time that I had with her. And I think that each one of us, when we stand in our own light, we give permission to others to find their own. And she did that for me, and I will forever cherish her for that. And I'm sure there's people in your life that were the same.
Yeah, what comes to mind for me, based on your wonderful story, that thank you much for telling that about her, is that I live in the world of what if sometimes when it comes to these situations. What if the main reason that she was in your life, the main reason she was here in this life was to have that impact on you, to have that experience with you. Mm-hmm. To leave you with the thoughts you have right now about her. I mean, it's like there are so many things we think, oh no, she's here to be with her husband, and have the kids that she had. No, she wasn't. That wasn't it. No, it's about we are not privy to the reason that the many reasons why we are in physical form. We're here in physical form for things we just don't know. So. I look at it that way. Maybe I'm here, that smile I gave that person, or that thing I told that child or young person is the reason why I'm here. It boils down to something that simple, that date, at that time, I have that impact on that individual, and that individual goes on to, it shifts them, it pivots them in a different direction. Maybe I'm the one who's creating the pivot, right? It's not like somebody else. We always feel like, that person created the pivot for me. We can go back to in our life and we can see the decisions that we made based on and the choices we made based on a connection to someone, right? And those connections have all led to where we are today. And I like to think maybe I'm that person too, going every day, that I'm the person who said something positive to that person when they were not feeling so good about themselves, and then all of a sudden they said, yeah, that's right. Yeah. And it shifted their whole behavior, or it helped cause them to make different choices in life. Just being kind to someone can actually do that. Kindness and a smile can actually transform people. and help them understand that the world that they really want to live in does actually exist, and it exists right there where they are. That is really, to me, the greatest joy. The greatest joy is just that, to be that pivot point, maybe, or just to display the kindness and the love and create the connection, momentary, no matter how brief, that helps people understand that the world's an amazing place and anything and everything is possible. And if that's what they get from it, that's fantastic. I hope they do. We went to a show last night, by the way. I must tell you, in the show, we've got about 4 minutes left, but Dolly Parton put this pirate show down here. It's 5 minutes from my house. And we've been twice in the last week. I went with Sandy, my girlfriend. Yeah, I went with Sandy, my girlfriend. And then she said, we got to take the grandkids to this. So we went. She bought tickets for her son and daughter-in-law and the 3 grandkids, and we all went last night. And we both came away saying, and even her oldest grandchild came away from it, went to bed last night saying to her father, I can't believe we have something like this in Panama City, in this area where we are, right, on the beach.
That's great.
It's like a Vegas show in Panama City Beach. We've got this permanent fixture. She chose right here in this town of all the places. You know, she didn't put it in New Orleans. She didn't put it in Pensacola. She didn't put it in Orange Beach. She didn't put it in Tallahassee. She put it in Panama City. And
that's
what's
fantastic.
interesting, and I'm loving it. It's like, it's so joyful, and you can tell the people, they're loving what they do. They're loving the acrobatics, and it's got water. They're swimming, they're diving, they're doing all these cool things. There are these faux sword fights, and the story's great. It's kind of a Blackbeard story, but it ends. It's also a love story, right? The captains from opposite households, the whole situation with Shakespeare, where two opposite families come together, except it's the
Romeo and Juliet kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a Romeo and Juliet. I couldn't remember that to save my life. Thank you for saving me. Yeah, so it's a Romeo and Juliet kind of story played out in a pirate thing, and it's really kind of cool. Anyway, I just wanted to say that. But what was neat about it is that everybody had the same thing.
That's so fun, though. I mean, and you all left there radiating positive energy, right?
Of course we did.
And
yeah,
I'm
fantastic.
Sure. And you, as you're walking out, everybody's got a smile on their face. You know, you're inspired. You're uplifting other people, and that's exactly what you. From the first time you went to see the show, you're like, we have to share this with somebody else, and and that's what it is. I mean, it's about that ripple effect we often talk about. And inspiring other people. You want to share that joy. You want to help. It doesn't have to be something so serious that I'm going to help somebody elevate their consciousness. No, it can be something like, this was so fun. I want to share that joy with you. And that's within that potentiality. You never know where it'll inspire. And I love it was you and the grandkids and all the generations. It's really wonderful.
Everybody had a great time. You let it unfold for them. We didn't tell them anything about it, and it unfolded for them the way that it should have. But I just want to say this: we've got about less than a minute left. But I really enjoy doing the show with you, Unscripted. I appreciate you. I appreciate our audience. Anybody and everybody who takes the opportunity takes the time out of their day to listen to this program and glean something from it that can help them have more fun and more joy and more love in their lives, to attract that to them, to create more of it for them as an experience in life. So I just wanted to say that.
It's beautiful.
And appreciate everybody here on PRFM. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And always remember, you're the doorway through which the divine flows, and anything and everything you can become your true you. And thank you, Michael, for always reminding me of that as well. And until next time, peace out. Thank you.